Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. Today we are going to create a custom build for Malcolm. It's his birthday tomorrow, and I'm going to get his build further, further done. And we're still in the machining process, and I'll show you guys the drawing for it. Actually, it's up on screen, but I don't think the screen on the video is really coming up as far as the way I can tell. But it is like the thumbnail of the video. It is going to be a pretty long hilt. So this is like the structure of it right here. And it's got a couple different components from different places. I'm actually going to let Malcolm talk about it a little bit. I think he's in the room here. I'm going to let him in a second. And he can talk more about it. But it's got a saber forge, Kanan, Jarrah style emitter. It's got it's going to have a Darth Vader, some Darth Vader cues and some Qui-Gon cues. And I think it originally started out where it's going to be more of like a Darth Maul build, and that's where the pommel came into play. But I'm going to get Malcolm in here, and maybe the pommel may have changed, but that's not going to change certain things that I'm doing today anyway. So today I'm going to be turning this hunk of aluminum that I cut down to be like Darth Vader's emitter. So, you know, Darth Vader's emitter is that big hunk of black metal that's off of a Highland flash gun, and this is meant to mimic that look, and it's actually going to go kind of on the neck of the saber here. And the plan that I have is it's going to go in line with these lines that they have on the Kanan Jarrah's emitter. So like these, it's really crude right now, but those lines will align with these cutouts here, the shroud portion. And then I do have to figure out like how I want to place this box, this Darth Vader style pen box. So where that faces kind of depends on the design of like where this is facing, where that shroud is facing. I want it to be like, opposite of that shroud piece, where do I want it to be in line with it? Those are the kind of decisions that you can make right now. And there's a couple pieces already kind of cut out for this saber, and there were certain things that I was thinking about today that may have to be, I may have to think about starting now, which is going to be like the electronics part of it. So how I want to do that, it's going to be something that I think about, because these new boards, like crystal focus or the coffee, you're going to need to attach one of those USB cables like pretty easily. So I want to make sure that that's possible, instead of just getting access to the SD card, which has always been, the only thing you kind of had to get access to on the board. Now you do need, especially if it was a coffee board, you need to be able to access those buttons on the coffee. So those are some considerations we need to make. Certain things that I'll be using to like manipulate this piece of aluminum are just going to be a bunch of hand files. I don't know if that's in the frame right here, but I have some hand files up on the board here. Those are the bigger ones I'll have to start out with. And unless I could use the grinder for certain things, I use the Dremel to kind of cut this piece out, which is really, really crude. And it took forever to get this piece out of the really, see how thick that print is? Melissa's world is here. I wanted to ask you guys, can you hear me all right? And is everything okay with the sound? Because I'm trying to use a different mic. That's a big one. Carl Bess is here, so that's a big one. It's going to be like a long saber. just a couple notes about like the way I'm dressed, what I'm gonna wear while I do this is I'm just wearing like a shirt that I don't care about. It's got some stains on it. Maybe some maybe some oil. Maybe if I get really holes, I can tap holes. If I'm using some oil, I could get some oil on myself. So just make sure if you're doing this that you don't care about clothes you have on. Like I said, I've already stained this shirt. Another thing to consider is that if I'm using my drill press and something's going to be spinning around, you're going to want to tuck in these strings right here. But for now, I just want to make sure that I've got my safety goggles on. I'm going to turn on some extra light right here. Let me see if I can get Malcolm in here. I'm going to see if I can put him, if I can get him on the screen right here. I'll get him. Let me see how I can do it to where I can hear him, but it's not going to give feedback. What's going on, Malcolm?
Hello. Everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, Mace, buddy, can you hear me?
Go back to my spot. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit, my man. Breaking up. It could be just my connection on my end.
Let me see if anyone says anything about the sound issue. So maybe we'll try
Okay.
to figure something out. I'm using like the mic attached to this camera here, so I don't know. But how's it looking so far? You see that there's a big, huge chunk of metal here that's going to turn into. I don't think you can see the screen, but you know the drawing, right? You're familiar with the drawing. That this is the piece that is above the control box.
I'm with you. It's just choppy hearing you, so I don't know if you're asking me questions or not.
Yeah,
Let me try and grab some headphones, see if I can make that better. Matt, can you see my white sweater on my bed? I think I have earphones in there. Can you grab for me? No, my white sweater on the bed? I'm done here then. I brought them.
All right, I think I'm fixing it. I think I'm fixing it.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
All right, just you know what it is though now is my cord isn't long enough to make it over there. So let me just run in for a second. I think I have like something I can extend this with.
Gotcha.
And then I'll have to figure out some kind of like ordering some Bluetooth headphones for next time. Hold on one second.
It's a good thing I look good today. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see if this is long enough here.
All right.
We'll just have to do this tethered if this works. All right, it's long enough. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
All right, because I'll kind of start over again of what I was saying before because I don't think anyone heard me. Working on Malcolm Saber. Malcolm is a special guest. He's live with us right now. This is the basic underpinnings of the hilt, where it's got the and Malcolm, step in if I'm wrong in any of this, okay? Because I know certain things changed. So
oh, I will, buddy. You know I will.
This has the Kanan Jarrus Saber Forge emitter.
Yes.
Which we changed out. I think before it had like a Darth Maul style emitter, maybe.
Yeah, it was originally.
And I don't think you guys can tell from the image on the screen here because I think it's like too bright. I think it's being blown out. But the drawing is the thumbnail for the video, and it's a kind of a compilation of certain parts that we chose, or that Malcolm chose from, like a Darth Vader, a Maul saber, and a Qui-Gon saber. So we've got a Darth Vader style box right here that I could still pick like which way I want it to go, because basically this hunk of metal right here is going to become the Darth Vader. Like, it's going to kind of be akin to like Darth Vader's emitter, whereas Darth Vader's emitter on the Highland flash gun is really beefy, black colored piece of metal that served as a shroud to his emitter. So this piece right here is going to like end up looking kind of like that. I don't think you can tell in this drawing, but it's this piece right here. And so I'm either going to align that with I'm going to align the control box either opposite of where this piece is aimed, or like, you know, either aligned with it or opposite of it. And I was thinking with this Darth Vader looking piece right here that I'm going to shape today, is that this is going to be in line with these lines here of the emitter. So although it's really crude right now, right, that those lines right there are going to go along with like that line there and that line there. The straight lines kind of sit there. So with the control box, you know, the control box might be like in line with that, or it might be off to the side. We kind of have to figure that part out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think wherever's best, where it's going to just be the most comfortable holding. You know, it seems to me that with everything that we have going on the front end of that saber, man, that thing's going to be top heavy. But I mean, wherever it is for the most comfort for holding. But like I said before with you, when we started sketching up this, is that I definitely wanted this to be a two-handed type of saber. So, you know, the more we do with that Qui-Gon middle piece, you know, to make it longer, underneath the custom crystal piece that I sent into you, probably will be better. I'm not afraid of that thing being, you know, a little long, you know what I mean? Because we do have a lot going on with the front end of that saber, and I think a lot of that's my fault for adding that new emitter, because that's a big emitter.
Yeah, well, I guess the shroud kind of makes it look a little longer than it really is too.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of
awesome,
pointed.
though,
Yeah, it's got that Graflex look. But there's this, you know, as we go below that clamp box from the Darth Vader, there's a section here that we're going to install this this shroud piece, which is going to look, you know, we're paying homage to the Qui-Gon lightsaber with this piece.
Yeah.
And right below that, we have a crystal chamber. One of the things I was talking about.
That Qui-Gon piece will be black.
Say that again.
The Qui-Gon piece that we're going to put in there, we're going to do that black. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was looking at the drawing. There was a rice port in that piece, which I'm not sure we're going to need anymore because of the new technology. So maybe that'll be the recharge port. Like one of the things I was thinking about was with these new boards is that we're going to need access to that USB port. So I'm really going to have to think about, and actually that's what I use the time for. Like it's going to be kind of boring as I am hand filing, or maybe I need the, if I could use the grinder, I might use the grinder, but basically the idea is going to take a little time, but I use that time to kind of think about, okay, where are we going to place electronics in here? How is that going to work? Yeah, how is Malcolm going to get to like that stuff? Like, you know, you're going to need to plug something in. So I had the idea earlier, like I'm going to consider while I do this, is it going to be possible to maybe put the board in sideways kind of, so that maybe there could be a hole there where you could plug in just the USB directly, maybe a little slit where you could get the SD card out. I have to think about that.
Hey, Mace, this is my twin brother.
Oh, in the back there?
My twin brother, Maliki. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on? How are you?
Good, man.
Good to see you.
Looking forward to seeing this thing someday.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell everybody out there that are fans of SpaceWIndu, you know, it's almost a benefit that, jokingly, of course, but it's almost a benefit that he takes so long. I think we started this project 2 years ago, but with that said, like you just said, the technology has changed so much just in 2 years. I mean, I thought I was going to be building something amazing 2 years ago, but now I'm even twice excited because things have come so far in just the 2 years that you and I started this project together with, you know, the new LEDs and the new stuff that's going on with the blades now, that you can do so much more with them than you could 2 years ago and everything else. So the wait has been well worth it. So thank you for being very slow.
Yeah, so like, I mean, that's actually one of the benefits of it, like you just pointed out, is that you know, new stuff comes out, and actually now it comes out so much quicker than it used to. It's pretty amazing. Usually in the past, like 2 years could go by, not much new would come out, but now a lot changes in that time. What were you thinking for this one? Were you thinking the Profi? Were you thinking the Crystal Focus 10?
Brother, I mean, I just straight up trust you. I mean, when it comes to the techie part of these sabers, yeah, I'm not your guy. I'm the last guy you want on the show. when it comes to start talking the techie stuff, I'm more of I'm that guy that just likes to have a bitch and lightsaber and show everybody. But if they start asking me questions, I just, I get a little lost.
Hopefully them like seeing it fired up will just shut them up, because it'll be so bright and loud.
Yeah, they start asking me, how did I, whatever, what's in it? I have no clue. So with that, I'm going to definitely trust you moving forward with what you recommend and budget wise and all those things. So yeah, I didn't have anything in mind to begin with, other than I know you know what you're doing, and that's kind of just where I've left it.
And what are you thinking as far as right-handed? Are you right-handed? Are you left-handed for this one?
Yeah, right-handed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, because that'll help me when I'm thinking about the control box, like you were talking about how you're going to hold it.
Yeah, right-handed. So probably right hand on top, left hand on the bottom for when I two-hand wield it.
Yeah, I wanted to just tell everyone again, since maybe they couldn't hear me before, is that welcome. First of all, we're building Malcolm's saber. I wanted to just say what I'm wearing and why. I'm wearing a shirt that I don't care about. I don't know if you guys heard me say this before. I'm wearing a shirt I don't care about, a shirt that's already kind of stained. In case I drill some holes, maybe I do some tapping of these holes, and you're going to maybe use some oil. You don't want to ruin clothes that you like. So if you're going to be doing this at home, you know, if you're starting out, you're going to get mad if you ruin something. Don't wear something you like. Wear safety glasses. I'm wearing these gloves because I'm going to be using, you know, working with these hand files, metal working. I don't want to cut my hand and so on and so forth. When I get further along in the build, when we're getting to the polishing stage and stuff like that, I will probably wear more like medical gloves. But for right now, since the metal's pretty rough, that's why I'm wearing these leather gloves. One other tip too is I wanted to tell you guys, because maybe there's some people out there who didn't have like a grandfather like mine who gave me these tips as I was growing up and stuff like that. I'm working in a garage right now. Some people might be working in a basement. Some people might be working in a shed on concrete. I got a 3/4 inch piece of rubber that I'm standing on, and I'm also wearing rubber-soled shoes. So if you're doing this, I'm going to be standing here a while. I stand here a really long time. There's a couple stations here. So I have like this station right here, which is where I do the metal working. I got the drill press. If I'm going to use the drill press, I will want to tuck in these strings right here, because I don't want to, you know, choke myself, get caught up in something that's spinning. But basically I have a couple stations here, and they all have that rubber on the floor. That's just, you know, you want to be insulated from the cold ground no matter what time of year it is. Let me see if anybody said anything here. Hopefully the volume is a lot better. Can't see the hilt too well, Melissa's World said. Let me just run it from the timer here one more time. The lighting isn't that great in here. I could turn on a bunch more lights. The thing is, when I'm doing this stuff, I actually like this type of lighting because I need to see the reflection off, or the, you know, the edge of the metal that I'm working with. I like to do like things that have like a beveled edge, and when I'm doing that, I need to have the light reflect off the edge a bit so I can see what's going on. Oh, actually, since I'm holding the hilt right up here and Malcolm's here, so let me just finish going down the hilt right here to make sure I got things right. There's the crystal chamber right here. That's towards the bottom. That's going to be below where the Qui-Gon part is. Malcolm, were you thinking that underneath the Qui-Gon piece would be like metal colored, aluminum color, or dark as well?
You mean the crystal chamber that's going to go underneath it?
No, like
to do it, or
like the part that's like
is
that
there
you'll be able,
metal piece under it?
yeah, like you'll be able to see through these cutouts.
Oh, got you underneath.
I'm kind of thinking maybe black, but you know, if you want it left bare,
yeah, I think black would be nice.
That'd be kind of cool. So then below that part is the crystal chamber. And it actually has, you sent this to me with a crystal in it already. I don't think anyone's going to be able to see that. Do I have a light here that I can show? I don't know if anyone's going to be able to see in there, but there is a crystal chamber. I mean, there is a crystal in there already. Yeah. There's also going to be this piece right here that I cut out. Let's see if I can hold this, show you guys. This piece right here is going to go, it's like, it's almost perfect so far. It's a little rough. I have to polish it up and stuff. But if you guys could tell, it's like going to be like almost a spacer to fill out. So all this is going to be, it looks a little slender right now, but it's going to be built up with these pieces. So we're going to have this shroud. I like to do multi-layered shrouds. This saber right here has kind of got multiple shrouds, but not necessarily multi-layered shrouds, unless you're talking about the emitter, which came that way. That almost looks like it's multi-layered, kind of. But we'll have multiple shrouds on here, but it'll even out the width of the way that this looks. So this Qui-Gon part will be there. And then there'll be the crystal chamber, and then there'll be this other shroud which will cover this area here. And then tell me if I've got this right, the Darth Maul style pommel. Is that what we have in the drawing?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I was going to put,
kind of. I mean, I think the pommel was originally different, like the emitter was originally different, but I just thought a Darth Maul style pommel was going to be the best place for it versus, an emitter.
yeah, I like the way
So yeah,
this
it
one
looks
looks.
awesome.
That looks sweet. And I
Yeah,
think
it
the
is pretty
sound's
sweet.
going to pump out of there.
Yeah, there's plenty of holes and ventilation for that. Should be super loud.
And like with this piece, I was thinking like, because of these lines that go around the crystal chamber, that I was going to inset, and I have it in the drawing there, which is probably not visible to you guys, but there's those Graflex style lines that I could make with the pipe cutter right here, just so that we have these lines that are right here on the Kanan Gyrus emitter, and have these lines that go around on the crystal chamber, and then just a couple little hair lines that'll almost be like Graflex lines right in the center of that. And then the belt clip, I think, is going to be on this as well.
So I have maybe a thought in regards to the Qui-Gon Jinn part of the saber, because it's on the Qui-Gon Jinn saber, it's most of the saber. Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about using a longer piece, the one that you're holding, and use that to clamp it over the crystal chamber as well? Think it'd be more comfortable?
Let's see here. Let me see what I did.
Just clamped it over or whatnot, you know what I mean? I mean, I like the crystal chamber, but I mean, it's mainly there to be able to look into and see it, especially if we're going to do an LED there, but we'll still be able to see it if it's got the the Qui-Gon Jinn part of the saber over it, because it's got all those slots on it. But
are you thinking that, let me see here. Are you thinking that the piece would go from like bottom to top, or that there would be a second? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would be because I really like that Qui-Gon look, that black part with the splits in it that you just showed me.
Yeah.
But that's such a small version of what it really looks like on a saber. So
that's true.
Is there a way we could do that over that crystal chamber where we're still going to obviously be able to see into it?
I see, because you're thinking that we'll see through the cutouts into the crystal chamber, through these cutouts on the crystal chamber.
Is there a way we could do that, at least on that part where the crystal chamber is?
Yeah. I definitely think that would be more like bringing more Qui-Gon too, you know?
Yeah, I think it would I think it would also, because it's black, would just pull the saber more together.
That's true.
In that section, it would just pull it all together there.
I like that. I like that idea.
Chamber is kind of a funky piece, you know. It doesn't really, other than the crystal in it, it doesn't really have a home there. It doesn't look like something you want to grab onto it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because that whole bottom part of that saber there where you're holding I want it to be really just
like a second, like a grip area. Like maybe you hold one hand here, and then maybe that second hand can kind of go there.
That whole area right there is that Qui-Gon Jinn handle. That would just be sick.
You know what, then? Let me see something here. I wonder if we could extend it even more. Oh, okay. That's trying to figure out where this piece unscrews here.
Bro, I tried 2 days to take that thing. You know what? I think it does come apart. I don't know if I glued it or what I did, but I couldn't get it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I think it's still. I was going to say maybe I extend that Qui-Gon piece even further, but I think it's cool if we, because there's actually one of these ring spacers up here like the ring spacer at the top and then the ring spacer right there will have the piece just in between those. And then there will actually be like that piece I showed you will be from there to there as well. So the grip will continue. Yeah, like you'll have that nice grip all the way there.
Okay.
That'll work.
You like that? You like that idea?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, you know, like you said, like it was looking a little bit like a Franken-Saber type of thing a second ago, but now that we changed that, I think it streamlined it a lot, you know?
Yeah, I do too.
All right, cool. That'll be cool. And then, you know, obviously when those parts that are black are going to be are black, it'll really look like it's come a lot more together as well.
Agreed. Yeah, I got skills, bro. So, you know, you need help with all your other designs. I'm here all week.
Well, we're going to do this tomorrow too. Tomorrow is your birthday. I was thinking, you know, let's do it today. Let's get it going. Cause like some of this metal stuff just takes a while. So I figure, you know, a lot of people ask, you know, hey, can we see you like work on a saber? And, you know, it's not the most exciting thing sometimes, but at least when I get to talk to you and you're the one that is getting the saber and you have a say in what it looks like and stuff like that, I think it's pretty cool that stuff can happen like on the fly as I do it. Rather than, you know, I email like, hey, what about this? And then there's another email or something like that. So let me get this out of the way. And I hope you guys can see some of what's going on here. You let me know. But what I do is just have that so I could see the final shape as I work on this. I'm going to start out with like a big file. You know, I've got a lot of small hand files under here, but that'll be for more so the finish. To kind of start it out, I got to use a bigger hand file, or I'll have to use my my grinder. But I really like these. I've used this big pipe, which I bought a huge pipe of this like thick aluminum, and I've used it on a few hilts before. Oh my God, I really love this type of pipe. It gives such a nice feel, and I think on this length of a saber, it's going to give this the placement of it on the hilt. I think it's going to be a good balance. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think balance is important on a saber that big.
Yeah, and I think like the blade, since I use the skinny strips in my Neopixel blades, the blade ends up being really light, and I think it's going to work out really well. You're not going to feel any weight to the blade at all with this, especially with this piece. It's like a counterbalance.
Yeah, awesome. I've been watching a lot of your videos recently.
Oh yeah,
Space and that remodeling your. I'm assuming that's your garage or whatever, but it's pretty sweet in there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, my spaceship that I'm in right now.
Yeah, the spaceship.
I'm high above the Earth right now. I am nowhere near any danger, like you guys are dealing with. I am breathing filtrated Dagobah air.
Yeah.
I can catch a Dagobah disease. Probably more dangerous.
Well, thanks for inviting us all to go with you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, let me know if you guys think there's a better angle or anything. I'll try to do it. Melissa says she's a lefty. There's not too many lefties, but I do meet some saber fans that are lefties from time to time. Yes, Master Kanan Jarrus. I don't know if he was a master, but Kanan Jarrus was a Jedi Knight, and he was a blind Jedi who inspired Melissa a lot because Melissa is legally blind.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting a saber from Scarecrow's workshop, and the hilt is put together. Now I'm waiting on the internals. Yeah, you know what? Like on a saber like this one, where there's like some machining to do, you know, we get a chance to set up like how I'm going to do the inside. So that's kind of cool. Where although it takes a lot longer, once I do get to the electronic stage, I should have like a really good idea, and it should be fast. So it should just be like, oh, I already put the port in for that. I already drilled the hole for that, so that's there. I already know where the buttons are going to go and stuff like that. Malcolm, were you thinking like control box buttons? Let me see what I put here. Oh no, I have like activation button up by the emitter, but that's with the old emitter. But the Kanan emitter does have a hole that looks like it could be. Oh, and then I have an activation button that's like in the Qui-Gon grips. But it could be done a number of ways, you know. It could be done a number of ways.
Yeah. I think whatever's the most, you know, smooth and just easy to get to with your fingers without, you know, trying to reach over different parts of the saber to turn things on and off and change colors and do all that.
Yeah, I'll try to take into account.
For me personally, with all the sabers that I've had in the past, and probably most saber fans and enthusiasts out there, our favorite part is turning the saber on. I think that's everybody's favorite button. You know, whether it's a toggle switch or, you know, the slide on the Vader piece, you know, that has all the little buttons on it, or sometimes just a regular, you know, LED button that has a light going around it. And, yeah, it definitely needs to be, in my opinion, the easiest to access when you're holding it, because you don't want to always, you know, you don't have to reach somewhere, turn it on, and then get your grip back. You want it to be right near your grip. And I mean, it's everything, man. Once you turn that thing on, it's the best part of the whole experience. And I think that ignition button is definitely the most important.
Yeah, you know, a bunch of years ago, like I definitely think that same way about the ignition button. I think sometimes it's really nice when it's a toggle switch, like you flick it up, like when the saber's gonna ignite. A bunch of years ago, I made one like that had a toggle.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are pretty legit. It's old school.
Yeah, it's kind of steampunk.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely old school. I don't know if my white goatee gives me away. Definitely old school. I used to do Saber Talk and some other things, not a whole bunch, but my goatee got so white and out of control, and it just made me look like I had, you know, more wisdom than I really do. Actually, I think I've changed kind of a Star Wars name. I've changed it to Jedi Goatee. It's kind of a cool Jedi name, Jedi Goatee. It kind of goes together.
Is that your name on here or your name on the forums?
Yeah, I think it used to be that on the forums, but I mean, again, that's a while ago before when I was doing any of that. I used to be Dark Mal for Malcolm, but I always thought that was kind of lame.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, it probably was me, but I don't really do anything on those sites anymore. But hey, Chivo. You want to come say hi? Come here, boy. Come on. Oh, that's my boy. Huh? I'm watching a lightsaber being built. This is my puppy.
Oh, let's see him.
Yeah, this is Tebow.
Oh, is it a Weimaraner?
He's a Labradoodle. He's just we live on a 150-acre ranch now, so we have two houses that we go back and forth from. So this is his ranch cut, because otherwise he has way too much hair as a doodle, and he gets cow poop everywhere, and I can't stand it. So I have to give him a farm cut. So he is a Labradoodle. He's just a short-haired Labradoodle.
Is that your only dog, or you got a bunch of dogs?
No, that's my only dog. Yep. Well, we got lots of pigs and cows and wild horses now and all that stuff I've never been used to, so it's quite a life change, but it's awesome. Now I'm truly Oregonian.
I've got some sandpaper here that is supposed to be like 2 times easier for sanding. This piece got so hot when I was cutting it, I had to keep taking breaks. It was heating up. It was heating up so bad. But this type of metal I found to be like, this is like the ultimate shroud. It's so thick. It's probably 3 times as thick as a TCSS shroud, but it's nice. It fits over MHS.
Is it heavy?
Yeah, I mean, it's aluminum, so it's light for metal.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it looks so beefy. It's like thing looks like a ton.
Yeah, yeah. It's, you know, if this was steel, it would be awful. I wouldn't want to use it. But being aluminum, it's pretty light. And I'll actually probably take, I think like 10% of what you see right here is going to be taken off.
Gotcha.
In one sense or another, like some kind of, I want to do some kind of bevel all the way around, make it really smooth to the touch on the edges.
Hey, Mace, are we still thinking of doing our space? Are we still thinking of doing possibly some windows in the emitter?
Yeah.
On the backside where it's just, you know what I mean, where we can see some of that light on the
Like on this side here?
Somewhere in there. Yeah. Or we'd have to go through what, 2 pieces to make that work, or?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Let's see. Yeah, the nice thing about this emitter is it's, you know, like maybe 3 inches long, so that the blade depth, it's going to be really nice blade depth for when you're swinging it around.
Yeah.
It really stinks.
Yeah, a lot of that blade's going to go into that emitter for sure.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's going to make it feel real solid, stable.
It looks like there's the blade retention screw right there. So, you know, above that, we could do a couple holes, maybe. I'm kind of thinking like maybe I'll try to do something like that's squarish, maybe 2 like rectangle holes that.
Yeah, rectangle.
That mirror the Darth Maul emitter, those bottom cutouts.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, just surprised me on that. That's SpaceWIndu touch, personal touch.
Yeah, what I like to do is anyone out there that is working on their metal hilts, you could just draw like what you want to do with your marker, because it always can polish off later. Sometimes I'll draw something on there and then, you know, I don't like that idea, so I just polish that off, maybe come up with something else. Where you can get used to it. Like when you draw it on there, you can get used to it, what it might look like.
That makes sense.
Like the interesting thing about 3D stuff is that when you're doing 3D art, it's just what it comes out to look like is like a surprise to even the people that planned it, you know, because you might know like something like what it might look like. I might know something like what it might look like, but then when it's actually completely put together, all those 3D aspects of it, the way the light hits it, and when you turn it in your hands, like it's something about it's always new, because
Right.
you kind of can't imagine like fully what that 3D piece might look like.
Yeah.
And Melissa said earlier she got internet, and so that is really, really good. Before she was, you know, watching all the shows and stuff on her data, and it was filling up the data every month. So that's cool. She got internet, and hopefully she can, you know, watch all the stuff that you want to watch. One show that I was watching while I was working out here, it didn't take long to watch the entire series. It's called it's on Netflix right now in the USA. It's called Jericho. And let me tell you, you know, they're posting a lot of stuff that's like kind of relevant right now. Like they got a movie called, or they got a documentary called Pandemic, you know, and I didn't click on it, but it's apparently about pandemic.
Yeah, I saw
you know?
it. Yeah.
And then they got the movie called Outbreak, right? And then, so they got a lot of relevant type stuff. And this is similar, where the first 5 minutes of the first episode of Jericho, a nuclear bomb goes off. So it's like setting the stage for like, okay, these are the survivors of this like nuclear situation. They're trying to figure out what happened. I don't know if you guys saw this show, Malcolm, if you saw this show. This originally came out in 2006 and it went on to 2008. There was like a season and a half. They had like a full season and they had 7 episodes to round out like a second season. And it kind of wrap up the whole entire show, which is really nice to see a show that didn't leave you in the dark, that didn't leave you in the dust. They actually wrapped it up somewhat.
Yeah. No, I missed that one.
Yeah, back in like 06, 08, I wasn't, you know, I was doing something else. I wasn't, you know, into TV, and I wasn't watching all those shows, but that sounded to me at the time, I think it sounded silly, or the name sounded stupid. I didn't want to get involved. And also, since I'm a graphic designer, when I look at a logo, if the logo isn't that good, I don't like it just to start out, you know, and they didn't really have a good title image. I thought their title, you know, the way they wrote out Jericho, I didn't think it looked good to me. And I still don't think it looks that good, but the show itself is fantastic. The show itself is fantastic. It's, it really ramps up. It changes, you know, it starts out one way. It's kind of like a little bit of a soap opera here and there because the way that people interact. But when you think about it, it's realistic. Like whenever there's a goofy scene, you're like, well, you know, it's kind of realistic. And then, you know, even though there's a goofy song playing in the background, they're trying to be a little sappy. It is kind of real. And then whenever people do stuff, and you question it, you might be like, oh, was that the most logical thing to do? Someone in the show will almost immediately say, well, we didn't do that logical thing because the road was blocked off. And you're like, oh, okay. You know, and they always kind of explain like why, you know, like, oh, well, how come they didn't just shoot that guy? If that guy's causing, like, oh, because if they do, these other people will come, or, you know, or something like that. So it's like, whatever they do, they have this explanation for. And it always kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm about to check that one out. Yeah.
It's good because you don't have to.
You recently, with everything that's been going on recently, you know.
Because
as you surf Netflix and, you know, all the other apps and stuff. Yeah, a lot of those old outbreak kind of pandemic type movies are like on the front, you know.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not sure if that's helping or not watching a show like that right now. But yeah, it's kind of funny.
There's
Did
actually
watch
one
the
point
first
in the
again.
show where they have to get inoculated for something that's going on. Some kind of virus breaks out. You know, they have a very real take on like what might occur in the future. It's pretty wild show.
Wow. Yeah, it's cool.
That one is recommended. I also
Well, it sounds like just another show I need to start binging on.
yeah. There was one I watched before that, and I was also playing it while I was working out here and stuff. And there was times where, you know, I'd find myself just like stop doing. I wasn't like working. I was looking at the show. It was very intriguing to me. It's called Peaky Blinders. It was also on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I like the character that plays. That guy's cool. He's done a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the
Cillian
first few episodes of it, but never like it wasn't to me. I just never just jumped in like, oh, I can't stop watching. I just couldn't totally get. My daughter loves it, but I just never could totally get into that one. It's got to be something pretty special for me to really just stop doing what I'm doing and start binging because I just don't have a lot of time.
Well, I
now
grew
I do
up near a horse track, and a lot of my friends, as we grew up, they worked at the horse track, and horses are kind of always around in my life as I was growing up, and just, you know, with the horse track nearby, my dad had a couple horses down at a house he had, and this show, Peaky Blinders, on the very first episode, they make a reference to horse racing. They actually have a horse brought up, and they have a sort of a magic bent to the show where they're gypsies, and they, even though it's, you may, you know, even in the show, they make claims to whether it's real, whether it's not real, the gypsy magic, but it almost doesn't matter. Because if people believe into it, it becomes effective for them in the show. And I really like that aspect of this. There was the magic aspect, which is kind of like Star Wars. You know, it's like, okay, you have the space situation, but there's also magic. There's also the Force. There's also magic. And when they brought it up, and they bring it up in the first episode where they try to show the poor people in the town that, look, we're doing magic to this horse, and that's why it's going to win the race tomorrow. And people are like, what? But they're poor people. They don't, and it's 1911 or whatever it is. Like they don't, it's like 1920. They want to believe in something. They want to win money. So they go down and they bet money on that horse. And when the horse comes in first place or whatever, now they believe in the magic. And that's kind of how the first episode starts off. And I was like, I was intrigued when I saw that. I was like, okay, there's this, but they kind of show you in the show, listen, this is a gangster manipulative move by manipulating these poor people, but they're doing what they got to do, I guess. You know, they're gangsters. So
yeah, that's definitely the impression I was under in the first episode. It definitely had that gangster kind of feel to it, just with the pictures involved. You know, if you look it up, you can see the pictures. Like, oh yeah, it's like a, you know, 1920s gangster kind of show.
Another one that the name turned me off of, though, it's like that old Sopranos show on HBO. For there was like 3 or 4 years where my friends were telling me how great Sopranos was, but I thought it was a show about singing or something. I was like, I don't care. I don't want to watch it. I thought it was like Glee. So I didn't know what it was. And then when I found out it's about New Jersey and it's about gangsters, and I live in New Jersey, anything about New Jersey, I kind of like, oh, I'll give it a try if it's about New Jersey, or you know. And it was cool. It was great. I actually think this Peaky Blinders with a goofy name, I heard about it years ago, but I was like, it's a silly name. It doesn't sound like something I'd be into. It sounds like Rainbow Bright or something. You know, I don't know. But it was a really smart gangster show where the main character he has to outsmart people. That's the only way he's going to make it.
All right, man, I'm writing these down. That's 2.
Those are the 2 excellent ones that I saw this year. I don't think there's any more that I saw this year that are, well, you know what, as far as sci-fi, like if you,
just 2 series.
Yeah, like there was a good sci-fi one on Netflix too, called Altered Carbon. I don't know how many of you saw that.
Oh,
That's
was
something else.
that was cool. Yeah, you know, they have a second one now. I
A
did watch
series or
the
a
first
cartoon?
episode, and it's going to be good. But yeah, I mean, to match that first season of yeah, that was an incredible show. Kind of started a little slow. You weren't sure what the heck was really going on. It was kind of so much, you know, to deal with there just in the first two episodes. But the characters were so cool. Just it kept drawing you in. The story just got better and better. You know, better and better the more you figured out what was going on. Yeah, that was a cool show.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, dig it.
They had a cartoon that came out. I think it was this year, Altered Carbon cartoon that continued the story a little bit, and
Okay.
it was like an anime style that was like an action anime. Ooh, it's something else. They got it on Netflix as well if you're looking for Altered
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Carbon stuff. And it was the same characters, you know, but the idea of Altered Carbon is that you can switch bodies. So even though
Yeah.
the guy doesn't look like I might be talking to Malcolm, but it's someone took his body, you know, someone. So it, you know, it's you're looking at somebody, but you're like, wait, that's not the Japanese guy from the. Oh, it is him,
Yeah.
but he's in a white guy's body now, or whatever, you know. So
yeah, kind of use the mirror to tell that story.
yeah,
When he looks in
yeah.
the mirror, yeah, that's how he sees himself still.
That's cool because that was in one of the first scenes of that cartoon too. Yeah. Where he's like mirror, like he's screaming because he wants to I guess it's a way that they settle into their new body as well.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes there's unpleasant sounds that are coming from when you're filing.
I feel so useless sitting over here in my office, man. I want to just jump into that screen, man, and get into that workshop. Get my hands dirty.
I've had people come over and they want to help, and like I put them to work, and the next thing you know, they're like they want to leave because it's like they get dirty and they're filing something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit too long of a drive for me, my friend.
Where are you?
Oregon.
Oregon. Okay, that's a place I want to visit.
Yep, Southern Oregon.
I'm gonna take off this shirt. This shirt is so now it's getting hot in here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, the only person that's like happy when I put them to work is Harris, I think. Maybe Gabe too. Gabe will do work. But then Harris, you know, he used to do a lot of this machining stuff, and he doesn't really like this anymore, which is good because if he wants to do more of the electronic stuff, actually, to be quite honest, like this might look like boring, but this is my favorite part. To be quite honest, I really love this even though it happens slowly, especially with a thick piece like this. I mean, you would be surprised how much faster I could do, you know, one of this metal that's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a bad choice to choose this part, but you know, it's for the video, but you know, it's got to get done one way or the other, doesn't it? So.
Right. Yep. Well, like you said, it just kind of gives you time to think about the next step or, you know, where you're going to put something else.
Right. Normally, you know, I'll be thinking about the saber. I'll be thinking about who it's for. It's kind of rare that who it's for is like, I'm able to talk to them while it's happening.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I should keep an eye on my screen over there because I did I sent the invite in case Gabe or Harris wanted to come in. There was a time of the day where Harris was going to get off work. He said he might jump in here. Oh, Mundo is here. Mundo. Let's see what he's saying. Melissa's World says, what are the holes for? The holes in some of these pieces are to look like Qui-Gon. And, you know, I should have brought I can grab it. It's right there. I'll show you. If you're not familiar with Qui-Gon's lightsaber, I've got one like 5 feet away. 1 second.
Oh, big surprise there. He's probably got one of every character 5 feet away.
Oh, I should use a lamp saber blade. Okay, so Qui-Gon has these cutouts.
Yeah, those grooves.
Yeah, which we call like scalloped grips. Like, you see how impossible that is to machine the way that these are. This prototype that I'm holding right here is from Vader's Vault Saber Concepts run they did. You know what? It's almost 10 years ago. Next year it'll be 10 years. But that's an impossible thing to do. Do you see that the way that they're called scalloped grips because they are that scallop shape? That's really difficult to machine. And this was done. I think it's a mill that makes that happen. But we're doing this to Malcolm's piece, and actually we're going to do a piece that's, if you heard the show a little while ago, we decided to do a longer piece than this, down at the bottom of the saber to look more like, as you can tell, the way that the Qui-Gon grips go is probably like, you know, double the length of this piece. That this is probably like a 2.5 inch piece. We're probably going to do looks about 4.25 will be the final piece. So we'll have like a nice Qui-Gon look, at least. There. And you know what I might try to do, since I'm going to have to remake the piece, and I think Malcolm would like this, because I'm going to make the cutouts, I think, a little bit different. So, you know, I'll cut it out. I'll do the cutouts like this piece, but I will maybe make a little bit of I'll have to think about that. I'll maybe make a little bit of a squarish like bottom to the cutouts to mimic as well as we can the scallop look here.
Right.
Scallops look, you know, and I think that might go along with like those other things we just talked about, like those square cutouts at the top.
Yes.
It'll start to go together, you know, and the stuff at the bottom, I think, you know, as the shroud pieces come together, and since it takes a while to shape, I do like that, because I can shape it in the way that other parts of the hilt look like, you know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Well, everything we've done so far has been improvements.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mundo, he says, I'm a Padawan. Space like the shades. Yeah, these are actually my safety glasses. They are UV protected, because I'm usually actually looking at, you know, I have a tester over there for all these blades. So I stand on the other side of this table to do the blades, and I have this tester. And if I looked at all those lights all the time, as bright as they are, it wouldn't be good. So I wear these, which helps a little bit. And then I could pick out, you know, sometimes on these Neopixels, you have to look for like, is there in every RGB LED, there could be one of those could be out, especially near like a solder joint or something if it got too much heat. So I'm always looking for, like, as I scroll through the colors, I'm kind of looking and seeing, is there any diodes out? Is there red out on any of these? And sometimes that's the case. And if you're looking for that and you don't have eye protection, you know, you find yourself really staring at like bright LEDs.
I got my eye goggles on for you, bro.
Nice,
So
nice.
whatever you're doing over there, I don't want to get anything in my eyes over here.
You know, they're saying all this stuff on the news about how, you know, not everyone, like, not only do you have to wear a mask when you go out, but they're starting to say that if you really want to be protected, you're going to have to wear like eye protection too, which I guess is going to have to be like goggles that go all, you know, they actually touch your face so that they cover, like almost like aviator type of,
Yeah.
like if you're flying with biplanes or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all that stuff can, I guess, whatever can settle into your eyeballs is one way it gets in there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times this is what I'll do.
Sounds like you're busting out some jams on a turntable.
Yeah.
That's funny. We're gonna bust out some Run DMC,
sometimes
brother.
it starts to sound like a rhythm to myself too. And when I want to, like, you know, to save myself a mask, if there's going to be, you know, sand stuff kicking up, and I'll use my shirt sometimes. That's like sometimes what I'll do. See, if you guys were here in person with me, I'd play a movie for you guys. I'd put a movie on one of these screens, but we don't want to get like a copyright strike today, so that's why it is silent. other than for these sounds here.
Yeah.
I should have titled the video ASMR Sanding.
Hey, Space, you said you're going to be here tomorrow, too?
Yeah.
Awesome.
More than welcome to join up tomorrow. I'll send you the link if you have time. Okay. It'll probably be like, let's see, your time. What time is it now for you? It's like 3 hours behind me, so it's like 3 p.m. for you?
Yeah, 3 o'clock Pacific.
Tomorrow I'll probably be here more like 5 o'clock my time, which will be like 2 o'clock your time for a few hours, I think. Is there a time that's like good for you tomorrow? Maybe I can change it. Maybe I'll do it later.
No, that's cool. No, that'll be good. I just don't have any plans tomorrow. Just a bunch of family coming over. We're going to barbecue for me and my brother's birthday. We share the same birthday every year. You gonna have some of your buddies on the show tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. I'll, you know, maybe Mundo, let me know if you want to jump in too. I will send you the link. Jake's off this year.
Don't leave me alone up here, Mundo. I'm going, you know.
Mundo will probably come in if he's not working. Oh, he said, put me to work on Sabers. I am happy to do it. Well, thank you for that. Eric Dayton is here. He says, I made sync tube Sabers using sync tube parts and used a toy Saber soundboard with an LED from the custom Saber shop and made some for my niece and nephews, and they just love them. That is an awesome, awesome way to do it. those can be cheap too. You can get saber made on the cheap by using a soundboard from a toy, and they can power.
Yeah.
They're usually like, you figure out what like voltage they're running on, and you match that up to LED, or you add some resistors if it's different, and you got it going. It might
Well,
be
maybe I should
Saber
have commissioned that guy to do my saber. I might have saved a couple bucks.
Jake Suff says they did a little work earlier today. It looks like it's Saber Sunday. Maybe that'll be the. Is it Sunday? Yeah, it is Sunday.
It's Sunday, yeah.
In that case, happy Saber Sunday, says Melissa. Happy Saber Sunday to everybody. It definitely should be Saber Sunday, because isn't the original Star Wars movie came out like next week, like however many years ago, right? Like 40, what would it be? 45 years ago? 43 years ago? I don't know. I can't do math.
77.
Bert Rutten says, SpaceWIndu, did you see the video I made for you about the EXAR KUN skull crystal chamber? I don't think so. I don't think I saw that. I'll have to look. Where did you post a video, Bert? Was it Instagram or YouTube? Mundo says, I'll be sure to watch when I get home. Maybe he's talking about tomorrow. Oh, yeah, because tomorrow I'll be working till 10. Oh, Jake Soft says, it's good to learn a lot, but a lot to it. That's the coding. He's trying to learn for Infinity Prototype. DIY Eno Infinity Prototype. Wow. That's an endeavor. That's an endeavor. What I'm doing is like, I'm like doing the work of an orangutan compared to what Jake's doing. I could set like an orangutan in my spot, maybe.
Yeah, or me. Same thing. Hey, brother. I'm going to bounce till tomorrow, yeah?
Okay, cool. I will see you then. Thanks for stopping
I will
in.
definitely be coming in tomorrow. Probably get my brother to jump in here and hang out with me. We definitely can be more entertaining when we're together.
Sounds
and
good.
Since
Sounds
it's
good.
our birthday tomorrow, the twins will come in and say hi tomorrow for sure.
Thanks for making time for this on your birthday tomorrow. That is really, really awesome that you guys are going to come in.
I'm glad we got together and made a couple small changes, and yeah, we'll just keep moving forward, man. I'm so stoked to see the Saber. Can't wait.
I'm really glad you got in at the beginning of this so we could talk about those changes together. Yeah. And so now I can just roll. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
Yep.
That's really great.
Maybe we'll make a couple more changes tomorrow.
Definitely.
All right, brother. You keep working.
Right, thanks, Malcolm. Have a good night.
Brother. Okay, man. You too. We'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay here and work a bit longer on Malcolm's saber. There is a bunch of sanding here to do. I want to get somewhere where we could show him a little progress tomorrow. Get this big hunk of metal kind of ready for this location. I really think that could be, this is going to look pretty crazy. Yeah, I can probably leave one of these holes exposed. The way this is going to be, it's going to be like in front of there. This saber's going to look a lot less long once we beef it up a bit. But this, like Malcolm said earlier, this is supposed to be a two-handed saber. So that's another reason why it's kind of long. He wants to be able to hold it with his right hand for the activation, and you could like stabilize it on the Qui-Gon grip area, which I'll have to cut out. Maybe that'll be, if I get through with this, maybe that'll be a project for tomorrow. It's what they call elbow grease. I'm trying to really get a nice flat surface. It's going to have to be as flat as it can be to sit right on this saber. Unfortunately, I'm not ambidextrous. When I try to do this with my left hand, it's way goofier. I still try. I've got my drill press here kind of holding down the sandpaper for me. This is the unglamorous world of building a saber, the unglamorous side of it. But if you want something like really unique, really custom, the only way to do it is to do something that no one else is going to do. Like, I don't think just to cut through to this piece of metal took a lot. It was like a pain, super pain. And, you know, you'd have to get a machine, I guess, to make it happen any faster. You can probably program something in to a CNC machine and get it to make this while you go out to lunch. But then again, a CNC machine is probably $30,000, or maybe it's a monthly rental. I'm just plain and simply don't have the room for that, don't have the money for that, don't have the need to really doing a one-off. Part of the fun, I think, is the elbow grease, and when you come out with at the end, it's really got everything from your heart and soul, everything you wanted to put in there. I'm always kind of thinking a step ahead, even though I shouldn't, that I want to put in the bevel. I keep thinking about the bevel, but I'm just trying to get to the stage where I can put the bevel. But putting the bevel on this piece kind of means it's almost done, and I could tell that it's really not almost done. No, there's one part, once the bottom gets super flat, bottom there, let's see, look at this light. Bottom there is almost going to be ready for the bevel. If I press down evenly, there's a better chance that I'll get a nice, even, flat area here. Yeah, Mundo says, that's therapy for me. Space, are you a Jedi Master, Knight, or Padawan? I don't know. I hope I'm a Jedi Knight, at least. I hope I'm a Jedi Knight. I'd be happy to be a Jedi Knight. I'd be pretty happy. I'd be a, like a Jedi Guardian, maybe. Maybe try to be like a consular later. Jay Kara says, hi, SpaceWIndu. Hello, how are you? Space, are all the parts from the custom saber shop? No, these are actually some unique parts from other places that Malcolm sent to me, like a saber forge, I believe, pommel, that sort of screws into this part at the bottom here of the crystal chamber that Malcolm put together, I think from an Ultra Sabers saber, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's a custom saber shop part. Then it's a custom saber shop extension piece, a custom saber shop ring, a Darth Vader replica clamp, another custom saber shop, or is this a saber forge underpinning right here? I'm not positive on that one, but this is a saber forge Kanan Jarrus emitter that is screwed into either a custom saber shop part or a saber forge part, but it's kind of a mixture of a bunch of different parts. I think Malcolm sent me this all these parts, maybe not the Darth Vader bit, and then the rest of these parts that you see here, I've been making to attach to this in a layered shroud situation that I like to do. Although there's not layers upon layers that I would normally do for custom saber, but there's a lot of shrouds. So that's going to be kind of cool and challenging, especially when I get down to here, which is going to be the longer Qui-Gon section. Just have to make sure that I align. It's not going to be that hard because I'm just going to use my markers after I lay the pipe next to here to align these cutouts for the crystal chamber with the cutouts for my new Qui-Gon piece that I'll be making, just so when you look through these holes, when this is slid over, you'll be able to see through and get to that crystal chamber. Because there's like a crystal already in there. I think what we're going to try to do is use that crystal that's already in there, because that's Malcolm's crystal. That I think it has some value to him. Someone gave it to him, or it has some sentimental value. I think he told me we're going to try to use that crystal. And it's a quite a big crystal. So there's a couple electronics, things I have to get through, like, to make this whole thing work. Like, where am I going to put the board? I was thinking about maybe putting it sideways somewhere we have access to the USB and the SD card. If not that, maybe I have it mounted in a way where we could unscrew a portion of the hilt. I was actually thinking of potentially just unscrewing the hilt right here and like having some connection piece right there that would screw into another connection piece, or just not even needing any electronics in this bottom piece, potentially containing everything we need in this top piece. And when Malcolm pops this open, he'll be able to just gain access to the board right there. I'll have to really see as I go here over the next couple of days, like what's the best plan for that, for the electronics part, because that really has to get figured out right now. If I go the whole way to the end with the whole hilt, that's not the best way to go. You want to like figure out where are the buttons going to be, where are the ports going to be, how is the board going to lie, is the board going to have a chassis, where's the battery going to be. All that stuff has to be figured out, like at this stage that I'm at right now, before I get too far. Okay. I'm actually going to get rid of some of these imperfections at the top here. I'm going to step it up to my grinder. I'm going to use probably the side of the grinder right here. I've either I did or the person who had this before me used the grinder so much here that it's indented on this wheel, and on this wheel I could actually probably use this wheel. Let me try that, so I don't have to use the side here. What I don't like to do is to get other projects. I don't like to get other projects dusty. So Mark's saber's all done here. I don't want that to be near it. I want to cover that, even though it's all the way over there. That dust might come down. I've got my wheel secured, otherwise it would run across the table. This is a situation where this piece could get hot. The piece did end up getting pretty hot, so just slowing down on that, but I'm getting that actually speeded up the process a lot on the top. It's one nice thing when I'm working out here in the winter time. I mean, right now it's May in New Jersey, so it's getting warmer. But in the winter time, when I'm working on a piece like this, the cool thing is that and it gets really hot and you're gripping it or you're working, it actually can warm you up a little bit. A lot of times I'll be cutting a piece with a Dremel, and I'll kind of hold on to it just because it's warm. If it's cold out here. Oh, Bert Rutten, thanks so much. YouTube is not allowing me to post a link for $2. Yeah, actually, I would need to make you a moderator for you to be able to post a link. I'm trying to think, is there a way that you could, you know what? Send me to my email the link. It's ALAGAIPA@yahoo.com. So ALAGAIPA@yahoo. And let me know when you sent it. I will go pull it up. Oh, Tyrone, thanks so much. Hey, Space, I appreciate the stream. Oh, thanks so much for being here, Tyrone. That's awesome. That's Mark says that saber is huge. Yeah, this saber's big. It's going to be a two-handed saber. If anybody's just getting here, Malcolm was in here earlier. That's whose saber this is. Just machining a couple parts for this right now, and the part I'm working on is going to go up at the top right here. And once it's done, this is going to be a lot thicker. This is going to be thick, and then this is going to have shrouds on it. So although it looks pretty long, it's going to look a little less long when it's a little thicker. But yeah, it's a big saber because it's going to be like one hand here, one hand down here, and it's going to maybe have activation on the control box or somewhere near there. And I have to figure out, like on the drawing up here, I don't think you guys can see this on the screen because it looks like it's blown out, but I have the activation switch like on the neck, and I have the aux button in the Qui-Gon grips. But I think things are going to change a little bit, and I think it might be better to put the switches in the control box or the switches up above where that whole Qui-Gon grip section is going to be, because that's going to be kind of a pain to have a switch in there. I think I have to, like I said, I have to think about the electronics part of it when you're doing like the machining, because things have to go where they have to go. Some things need extra space. You have to figure out what kind of battery you want to get in there. I'm thinking that's going to be an 18650 battery. We'll get him a nice strong 18650 like we did for Mark's saber. Even though I don't think Malcolm's going to be doing the TriStar, because we'll get him just something really, really bright, but really lightweight as well. This is going to be a nice counterweight. It's a hunk of aluminum that's just going to kind of be like, our homage to Darth Vader's hilt. Let's just hit this again a little bit. This is really saving me a lot of time. Using this for, the bevel at the top is going to be really nice. hit that once more after this thing cools off. But that's really helping. Piece is going to come together pretty fast. Piece is going to come together pretty nice, and the bevel's going to happen fast thanks to the grinder there. It's not going to have to be an endless amount of elbow grease to get a nice bevel. But there's just some things like I don't have a big enough surface area on the grinder exactly to do some of the finer work. The bottom and the top here, I want it to be really flat. And one thing I don't want to have happen is, you know, I'm holding it and it gets flung across the room or it smacks me in the head. I mean, that might be funny for you guys, you know, who knows, but I don't want that to happen. So I also don't want, you know, smaller things to happen. Like I don't want to be doing this on my sandpaper and actually slash my sandpaper either. So that's just one thing I like to think about. Even though sometimes I'm trying to like sand it like super fast, I'm trying to put an even amount of pressure. And I want that bottom to be like really flat. You can tape down your sandpaper. One thing I'm doing here is just having my the weight of my drill press just hold down one side. Mundo says, what size of drill bit and tap do you use for the 3.5 millimeter recharge port? I can actually tell you, I think, let me see here. What I got here is an old tap set, probably from a garage sale that my dad got for me 20 years ago. This is what I use for the rice. Let me see if it, yeah, it does have a size on it. Now, there's two different kinds of rice ports, Mundo. There's that one that is like a little metal port that I can show you. I think. See if my cord reaches. No, my cord's not going to reach. All right, there's two different kinds of recharge ports. There's the plastic one, and then there's the metal one. This is the size for the metal one. When you want to come in like from like inside the hilt and then screw in that little metal threaded section at the top. Let me see if I can read this. This is a quarter inch NC20. Quarter inch NC20 is what this one's reading. This threaded tap is reading a quarter NC20, and for the 2.1, is this the one I use for the 2.1? Oh, here's the one I use for 2.1. At 2.1 millimeter, this one actually works really good for that. This one is 5, no, I can't read it so little. This one is, I don't know if I could read that, honestly. Is that a 10? 10/16, I think it says. NF24 is a good one for the recharge port 2.1. But at the same time, I mean, I don't think either of these was completely perfect when I used them. I have to do a little adjustments. But it's nice if you could, you know, hit up garage sales or hit up sometimes these antique stores. A lot of these type of places that are selling antiques and selling, like, I kind of call them garbage stores, you know, but you can kind of find cool stuff. And then I always find saber parts in those type of garbage stores, where you kind of walk through. Sometimes you could find a flash gun, although that's like super rare. You can often find old flashlights, which could be good do-it-yourself, like hilt parts to them, the bodies of an old flashlight. And then you could find tools a lot of times. Now, sometimes in those stores, like, it's not that cheap, but you can find that old, like, good style tools. But garage sales are really the best place. If you get up early on the weekends and go look at garage sales, and when you see a bunch of tools, you just tell the person, like, listen, I'll give you 25 bucks. I'll give you 30 bucks, whatever it is, for all these tools. And they usually just want to get rid of the tools, and you carry them away. And next thing you know, you have some, you know, treasures in there. Sometimes you get extra stuff and you can give it away. Like, my dad always got extra ratchet sets and tool sets, and then he would, you know, give me a set. Sometimes I'd go with him when I was a kid, look for that comic books, look for tools. Lots of people selling tools on that. I guess today, though, instead of going to garage sales, what, you go to, like, Let It Go to Craigslist maybe, and maybe it's not as good as it used to be to find a deal. But the old style tap sets, that's a find. Just hope this doesn't fling across the room. Whew, it's getting hot. Starting to really come out to something, starting to look a little more finished. It's pretty raw before, starting to look more like it's going to fit in place. I'm going to have a heavier bevel on the top than I am going on the bottom. I didn't even start the bottom part yet. Mundo says, how do you account for the different threads on the pieces? There's actually not. What actually they did was an Ultra Sabers and Saber Forge. They kind of copied the threads of the custom saber shop, and so they almost do fit together. The only thing that doesn't seem to fit together really well here is the pommel, but it goes in. It threads up enough. You can tell that some of the threads, I'm not going to force it. What I did do, the piece that's going to go there, I just accounted for that. So the threads, you could see that they're visible, but we're not leaving it that way, right? That would be pretty ugly. What I'm going to do is use this piece to cover that up. And then when the pommel screws on, it's just going to butt up right up against this piece. And it's going to look perfect. You're not going to see that. And it's sturdy. It is on enough threads that it's not going to come off, but it's just like you said, Mundo, it is not the same part. So they really shouldn't fit together. I know that TCSS would like their thread size to be proprietary. Fact of the matter is, other people have copied it. These parts fit together. Oh, okay. Bert sent a video. Let me go check that real quick, and I will play that if I see that. Bert, is it okay to play that video? Is it like nothing can get us into trouble, right? Jedi Warrior 99 Jedi Warrior says, which are you, single hilt, double bladed, or dual wield? I always thought I was single hilt. I always thought maybe I would be a consular from Knights of the Old Republic. If you played that game, like Knights of the Old Republic 2 had the Viridian lightsaber blade color. And I always played as a consular who ended up, I played it multiple times, and sometimes I'd end up with the silver blade color. That was great. Sometimes I got the cyan, and when I really was happy, I got the Viridian. And I had the single blade is basically what I liked so much that I commissioned one of my best friends, Mike Darth Chasm, off of FX Saber forums. He made for me, I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, it's on my channel. It's called the Jedi Assassin. That is a lightsaber that Mike made for me. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. It is a single hilt lightsaber where the blade color is Viridian. So it's just like my KOTOR character, but it's like the saber's made to look like it's from the era of like Luke Skywalker and like Kyle Katarn and those type of characters. That's pretty cool. If you haven't seen that video yet, you should check it out. It won 2017 Lightsaber of the Year. It's all Mike's design. Darth Chasm designed the whole thing and made the whole thing from top to bottom. I didn't do any of it except for the blade. I just made the blade because he put in Crystal Focus LS for me. That's like the card that I like from 2012. It's pretty old, but it has those string blade effects. Like this saber has, this isn't the saber, but this has Crystal Focus LS. So it's like, you can see it goes up and down like a Neopixel, but this is the old way to do it, where it's like, you could say it's like analog and Neopixel's digital. I had to wire it this way to work this way, where Neopixel does it like via computer. This has a flash, but again, this is like, I wired that into the blade. It's a fully component blade that just works, you know, in an older analog style way. And then the newer boards work, I describe it in like a digital style way. All right, give me 1 second, you guys. I'm going to see if I can play this video from Bert. Let's see here. Let's see this video. Bert says, enjoy the laugh. Let's see. You like to laugh? All right, let me share this with you guys. Let me share this with you guys. All right, let me figure this out. I got to share this video. Share screen, share Chrome tab. Oh, it's working. I think it's working. Okay. How small is this? Like, how big is this? A ring? Rotary Wing USA. What is this inside of? What is this inside of right here?
Are you the spirit of EXAR KUN?
I don't know if you guys heard that. He said, "Are you the spirit of EXAR KUN?" It was pretty funny, pretty funny voice. It wasn't scary. It wasn't a scary voice.
Have you come seeking revenge?
Have you come seeking revenge? No. It's like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull inside there. See what he says next. It's like a magic 8-ball. Maybe I should ask a question.
The spirit of EXAR KUN lives.
Oh, there's low sound for you guys. Yeah, I'm still figuring out. Like, I thought I knew how to share sound, but I think it's not coming through that great. I don't know how to fix that. I think if I raise my volume, I don't know if that's going to help you guys. Thank you for that. I don't know if you made that. Did you make that, Bert? Tell me if it's louder. I was going to say something now. Oh, this is going to be a crystal chamber? It really floats in there? That is sick, dude. That is incredible. No. That's going to be a sweet crystal chamber. It's hard to tell how big this is in the video. I guess it's really little. Okay. Oh, I don't think I'm sharing it anymore, but I was still listening to it. That is funny. If that's really a crystal chamber, that's going to look cool. That is going to look really cool inside a saber. Melissa says, no, I'm with the light. Bert says he's just messing around. Yeah, that was cool. It almost it kind of looked like, you know, a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, little skull, but then when you said it's a crystal chamber, it's like, oh wow, that's crazy. If it's like working like that, like off a magnet or off of something. Oh, Johan's there. He's Tyrone. Thank you so much for the video. Really cool guy. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked the video. I'm going to get that. I think it's going to ship out tomorrow. I got to get that into a box tonight, and then I'm going to the post office tomorrow. So I know that you are in Germany, I think, and I'm going to do that international shipment. Also, got another video coming out later with another blade I finished. I gave you the idea. Yeah, see, Bert, I don't remember that. I don't remember giving you that idea for that skull. How long does it take you to build sabers? Well, it takes a long time. If you're talking to me, it takes me forever. I'm super slow. I'm a super slow. Well, if I just have to do the electronics install, it's not too bad. If I'm making the whole saber, that could take a while. Like the one I'm doing right now for Malcolm. You know, I do some parts for that, and then it seemed like a couple months go by, and I'm working on other stuff, and then like right now I'm trying to get back to it because he has a birthday tomorrow. It was a couple months ago. I thought, oh, you know, it's gonna be possible to get this done by his birthday, and then once it kind of seemed like it wasn't gonna happen by Malcolm's birthday, I thought, you know what? Let me just work on it. Let me work on it like in front of you guys. I know a lot of people ask, like, hey, can we see you working on the saber? And to me, it's kind of like boring because I'm like, okay, well, it's like me sanding something or me doing something, but maybe I could talk to you guys while it's going on. And, you know, you guys might have questions. Maybe you see, maybe to me it's boring, but maybe you see something that like you can learn something from it. I don't know. That's why earlier in the video, I was kind of talking about what I was wearing, where I was standing, tools I was using and stuff, because just want you to be aware of like, you know, what you might need if you're going to do something like that. Mundo says, no, I'm not slower than you. I guess you're taking a little long. No, I think I'm still slower than you. I think I'm still slower than you. It's the spirit essence of EXAR KUN. It would be, oh, my double bladed Neopixel. Yeah. Oh, I got that in my drawer. I should show you guys that. Oh, that's going to be sick when that's done. That's why I got that thick pipe, that pipe I was showing you before, where it's that I'm working on the whole afternoon, that super thick pipe. I bought that for the EXAR KUN saber, and I made the, you know, the things at the end of EXAR KUN saber, the claws, they're out of that thick pipe material. Each end has like 6 claws, I think. So each area has like 6. They took forever to cut out. I'm still not done like shaping them. Damn, my Hilt is several months to put it together. Yeah, Melissa, I know what you mean. Several months for me too. I love watching the process. I learn every time. Well, thanks, Mundo. I will show you. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. Let me go back to that project. I'll walk back over there and work on that some more. Trying to get a little farther on Malcolm's build. I mean, just that one part could take the rest of the day. Takes a minute to walk over here because I am using a wired headset. Okay, so like I showed you before, I got these like thick leather gloves because I'm working with this part. It gets very hot when I'm grinding it, but what I'm doing to it is I'm just trying to smooth it out. You could probably still make out some of the writing that actually came on this pipe, and some of the marks that are just there that'll have to be polished out before this actually goes on the saber. This is also going to be painted black. So shaping it into sort of like an homage to Darth Vader's emitter. And actually, you know, even though I've been sitting at the computer talking to you guys for a couple of minutes, this is still kind of warm. But where'd my glasses go? I'm probably still in my head. I'm going to just turn on the grinder one more time. I think it'll just take one more time for the top here. And then after I do that, I'll still need to bevel the bottom, but I can finish the top at least with my hand files and really get the look that I want, like in every single angle that I want, and I'll be able to, you know, turn it around, kind of look at it, see what's going on, get the angle that I want with my hand files. If I went too far on the grinder, that would be bad. So that's why I usually stop short. I don't want to go too far. It'd be really bad if this thing flung across the room. So we don't want that to happen. It's got pretty dusty in here. What I like to do is get rid of all that. And I covered I have one other piece of sensitive electronic nearby that I covered with a t-shirt, so that it's not even completely open, but just to be sure. This is where you can put in some of your artistry. You can pretend that you're a sculptor, and you are going to just sculpt out this shape that you wanted. It's going to take a God's age, you know. It's not the quickest thing in the world. And I got a firm grip in one hand, and I'm just kind of doing this repetitive motion. Probably not good for your shoulder. But if you stretched out a little before, maybe do some stretches, do some, if you've got some kind of outdoor thing, go do that. Loosen up a bit, and then you can do your repetitive motion. Hopefully it doesn't hurt you as bad. You don't do it every single day. I'm not making this part 1,000 times every single day. Just making it for Malcolm. Not every saber requires like this type of I guess this is like the brutal side of it, right? The non-glamorous side. Definitely want to take a shower when I'm done here, because you got all this metal shards flying around, and you want to throw these clothes, in the wash. You don't want to wear your best clothes. You're gonna have stuff in your hair. I don't have much hair at all. I don't have any hair, but you have these metal shards in your hair. And maybe if I had a belt sander, I could have the belt sander going. I could go, just have it touch. But I have to use elbow grease right here. I just want a really flat surface. I want this to look like, when this is done, I want this to look like it came out of the Apple store, Like when we started here today, it looked like it came out of a junk pile. But trying to make it look like it was Imperial made. Starting to come out. I don't know if you're going to even be able to tell that anything happened here, but it's getting a little rounder at the top, getting rid of some of those imperfections, making a flatter rim, making sure the bottom's flat. One of the best tools, you know, early on I was trying to fit some shroud material over my hilts, and I was scratching the hilts. I was scratching the hell out of the hilts, right? Because you try to put a piece of shroud over your MHS part, you know, and you'd end up having maybe something that was like a tooth, something that was like a little splinter, and just a little bit of a hair of aluminum could scratch your underbody of your hilt. Then I saw a custom saber shop video or a Mad Cow video. Mad Cow was in the video, whichever it was a Genesis Custom Sabers video or a custom saber shop video. He introduced this tool. This is an incredible deburring tool that saved me a lot of headache in the years after I saw that. So anybody wants to clean up the interior of their metal tube to fit more easily over an MHS part, definitely want to get yourself a deburring tool. I had my friend sit down here before I knew about this, and I said, you know, sand out the inside of this part. Sand out the inside of this part so it could easily fit over this other part. And I had him sanding for 2 hours. The part still scratched the inside of the hilt because it's just takes a lot of sanding. But what you can do is use this deburring tool. What you do is you just run it along the inside of the rim of the part, the outer shroud that you made. You'll see some bits of metal come off. Make a nice little bevel on the inside of the metal. Make it real easy for this to slide in and out over MHS parts without scratching. Now, believe me, you still might need to do a little sanding on the inside because, like, look at what I've done. I've cut some holes in this part, which probably put some teeth, put some splinters on the inside. And you will have to go in there and sand it a bit on the inside. But this deburring tool helps with both ends, not hurting the MHS part. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right here, because this is about the same diameter as a MHS overshroud. And just to make sure that when I do try to slide it on Malcolm's hilt, that it's not going to do anything there. Because now I'm pretty close to having a flat edge. I'll probably do this twice, do this right now once, sand here a little more, and just do it one more time. This is a part you won't see. You won't be able to see when the hilt's together, but it just will make the installation of the hilt go much prettier, much smoother when I'm not ripping apart my underbody. We can just do our deburring, have some metal hairs left over, but it's going to be a much cleaner situation now when I go to install. And you do that to all your shroud pieces. Just make it a lot easier to get them on, not hurt anything on the saber, not hurt your underbody. So I got my polishing equipment all set up. All I have to do is get to the point where I could polish. That may not happen right away. That's the last step. Nice thing about the hand motions in comparison to anything mechanical, so level of control is really, really great when it's done by hand. Like, other than something slipping, you slipped, not much can go wrong in your hand. When you have something, if I had a belt sander and the next thing you know, zip, this thing is across the room, maybe it destroyed something in the room, or maybe it got scratched, and now I have added some work to my day. That's why I always try to avoid, I'm trying to avoid cutting myself. And it's not because I don't want to feel pain. You think I give a shit about the pain? I don't care. It's the fact that now I have to stop and go inside and cover the cut and everything else. It's a waste of time. So I don't have these big machines like a CNC machine and whatever, a mill and all that stuff to save me a whole lot of time. And I don't have a bunch of people that I could say, hey, like, sand this down until it's XYZ. I have to do it myself. So I have to make sure that, you know, I don't take a bunch of detours. I don't want to detour with bleeding. I don't want to detour to fix a window when this thing flew across the room. And I don't want to detour fixing scratches. Believe me, that stuff happens more often than not. It's like I make a bunch of scratches in something as I'm working on something and have to go back and spend 2 hours fixing those scratches. So it's just something that you want to think about the whole way through. Just like you're thinking about the electronics install, I'm thinking about not effing up. I don't want to F up. And when you're doing it, you want to have fun. You know what could ruin your fun? When you mess up, because then the part could be ruined. The farther you get along, the farther and farther you go with your custom build, the more harrowing each stage could be. For instance, like when I got to the end of one of my hilts one time, and came time to put the bunny ears on the hilt. The bunny ears is a part that they sell at the custom saber shop. It's like a Graflex part. It's kind of hard to line that up and to set that up in a way where you can drill into your hilt to get those to look right, to look exactly the way you wanted. So it really takes a lot of painstaking care, check and recheck your line, check and recheck your marks and your drill holes and stuff. And if it's off a little bit, the bunny ears just can look a little wrong. So, you know, you always just want to take your extra time, I guess, it takes to really get it right, but just to whatever it takes, whether it be time or whatever, but just to get it right. Because if I worked on this piece all night and then something happened tomorrow where I ruined it, it's really hard to ruin this type of piece, but sometimes pieces can get ruined. For instance, MHS part that got stuck together, and when you're trying to unstick it, unthread it, you could ruin it. Right, I know that's happened to some people. You know, you just kind of have to be careful when you're working with MHS parts. And you didn't see me do it tonight, but I probably should have been doing it. Is adding MHS lube every single time I unscrew and screw parts back together. Especially if you're going to be doing any machining to the hilt, like any drilling, and then something gets unscrewed. You better have an air compressor or some kind of forced air. You can blow out all the dust and all this stuff out of your threads, because before you screw that back together, you don't want to have something go wrong. There's a whole lot of sanding going on right here. It's really taking shape little by little. See what Mundo said here. Oh, Melissa's World says a belt sander would be a good idea. Oh, Mundo got a deburring tool. Great. That really helps. So that's why it's taking a long time for mine, so I can get it right the first time. There you go. That's what you want to do, you know. And it's not like you never want to make a mistake, because a mistake helps you learn. But if you find yourself in the middle of making a mistake, you can take a break. A lot of times what I do is, it's like if I have a hilt where, I think I've said this before on different saber talks maybe, but if you haven't heard it before, you got these parts that screw together. And like I said, sometimes something goes wrong and it gets stuck together and it becomes hard to dislodge. One of the things you could do is, before ruining it, before maybe getting your clamp out to try to, oh, I'll just ruin one side of it, I just need the other part, and maybe something gets ruined, or maybe something gets so clamped down that it can never be unscrewed again. What you want to do is take a break. And what I do in that situation is I take the parts that are stuck together and I go put them in the freezer. And then when they're in the freezer for an hour or two and I've thought about a solution, I try to undo the parts. And if it still doesn't work, sometimes I'll go put those parts like in the sun. You know, just try to change the temperature of the metal, try to jostle it, try to expand it, contract it. Eventually, those threads will usually loosen up if you haven't done too much damage to them by that time. And usually by stepping away for an hour or two or four or for a whole night, you can think of a solution to your issue. Starting to look good. I only see 2 imperfections left that I have to get rid of. Imperfections came from the Dremel when I was cutting through this huge piece of metal. It's a really thick shroud that I'm using. And you can probably tell there's a couple bite marks in there. The Dremel bit in. Oh, Bert sends, I sent you an email. More details on the saber I call Lightpaw. Cool. That must be like, is it like a Game of Thrones inspired hilt? That sounds cool. This is why I don't build it myself. I ask for help, as it's worse when you can't see well. Oh, I could understand that, especially with these small electronics, Melissa. I can't imagine like having a hard time seeing. People with great sight have a hard time seeing these really small pads that you have to solder to. So that is a problem, but there's probably a couple of solutions out there. Like for one, there's a system on the Custom Saber shop where it's like they sell pre-wired nano biscottis. I don't know about other boards, but definitely pre-wired nano biscottis. That can kind of help. You only have to make like certain connections, like you make like your LED connections and you make your battery connections and stuff like that, I think. But the main parts of the board are soldered already. But yeah, it's also cool to, you know, be interested in custom sabers, custom sabering, but not necessarily wanting to do it yourself. I mean, that's, you know, people have different interests. Some people like might have an interest in a custom saber, like how it's done, but don't necessarily want to do that themselves because they're into other things. You know, some people do music, or some people want to go outside and do running and do fun stuff outside and not be stuck either reading code like Jakesoft, or writing code, or like me, standing inside, you know, just focus on something like this. That's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. Oh yeah, I think this is going to look pretty cool when there's like a bevel on each of these sides here. I'm going to start putting that in. I think maybe it's not quite time. I have to do a little more sanding on this part. That'd be nice if, like, by tomorrow, this piece could. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to slide this on tonight, but I don't know. This is the toughest piece, though, on the whole saber. I guess it's why I started. Well, I didn't really start with it. I made a couple other pieces first, but I knew it would take a long time to sand this one. So I figure I could talk to you guys while I sanded it, even though it's probably not the most exciting thing to look at. You know, it's the way I like to get the light to hit these parts. You know, it might be hard to tell in the video, but it's like the light here is hitting the certain facet of this piece, which is allowing me to just see, you know, is it straight? I could tell that there's one facet that's straight, and then because of that, I could tell what isn't straight. There's the next level down. That's part of the design here that's just a little off. If it was perfect, the light would gleam off of it like in this beautiful way. But since it's not perfect, the light is, you know, kind of dancing around at different levels that aren't straight. That's how you can see. When the certain light hits it properly and it reflects back to me flat, then I know it's level. So there's different hand tools that you could use. You know, I would rarely use these big files on these regular MHS parts. Hardly at all. Maybe some big movements, but mostly these small ones is what I would use. You know, once I got to the detailed sections, but these here, having a little more weight to them is helping because this shroud material I chose is so beefy, so big, so heavy, like so thick that the weight of the file is like helping a little bit. Just even this out. I could tell with the light it's starting to even out. Just make sure my surface is even too. You know, I got doing work on this dirty old shirt right here, and I got different levels of dirty shirts. Like the one I covered, Mark's open because he's open at the bottom there while I work on the SD card. That's a clean shirt I covered over his saber, but this is like a dirty. There's different levels of dirty, you know, different levels of shop shirts. Basically, every shirt is going to become a shop shirt at some point. Then it becomes an oil shirt for changing oil with your car. I seem to just have had, here it is. One of my smaller hand files would be good for the corner. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's getting more even. This interior part is kind of, it's probably the toughest part to get right, because that level, I mean, look at that like level, you know, it's getting better. It's getting flatter, this level here, but it's still not perfect, you could tell. It's almost going to matter at a certain point where that cut, well, not so much. It's not going to line up with any other line. Sometimes if it was going to line up with another like horizontal line on the hilt, I would try to line it up. But since there's no other line on the hilt that can sync up with this line, I'm kind of free to make the depth like whatever I want. Just want it to be straight at this point. Just want it to look really, really pro when it's done. When somebody says, oh, that was done by hand, someone's going to know. That's not done by hand. That's what I'd like to happen, you know. That's what I'd like someone to say. I always looked at Mad Cow's work. I always thought to myself, this looks like Apple Computer made this. This looks like the work of a machine, not a man. That's how clean his stuff was. I'm still, you know, 10 years later, I'm still trying to make my installs like half that clean. Sometimes in a big hilt like this, you think, oh, I got a bunch of room. Everything's going to be fine. I got a bunch of room. But that's not always the case. You run out of room in them big hilts too. You think, I'll put in a crystal chamber. Put in a, you know, I'll put in a bigger battery. I'll put in a crystal chamber. Maybe I'll have 2 speakers. You know, maybe I'll have some extra stuff. Like I run out of room real quick. That saber I covered up over there, Mark Saber, it's like I didn't realize first how many wires there was going to be. Trying to make it really pretty inside, and I realized, you know what? It's got a vibe motor. We've got a forward-facing speaker. We've got a rear-facing speaker. We've got Neopixel. We've got all the Bluetooth. We've got accent LED. We got. And I realized, oh man, I have like 70 connections in here, and it's a hilt half the size of Malcolm's here. I would love it if it looked like Apple Computer made that, but that one looks like human being did the wiring, I think, because it's just so many wires. Couldn't hide them all. Like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, right? He had to put a wire on the outside of it. That's almost what I got to do sometimes. I want to put a wire on the outside. There ain't enough room on the inside. It's actually a little hint to what I'm going to enter for a Graflex contest. That's a little bit of a hint. That's not much, but I gave a little bit of a hint. Not all the wires are on the inside. Now I'm working on the forward bevel. Oh, this is really starting to look like something. This is really starting to look like something to me. I see the bevel happen. No, it's not that far away. Surprised I'm not sweating more. You know, sometimes out here in the summer, it's not that hot here, but sometimes in the summer out here in the garage, forget about it. Be doing I think, oh, it's not that hot. And I start moving, I start doing something like this. Next thing you know, it gets really hot. Oh, it's hot out here. Let's circulate some air. Actually, normally I have some fans going, but for you guys, I turned off the fans because I didn't want it to be. I knew this would be annoying enough with the sounds of the sanding. But to have the white noise of a fan going back there too, I don't know. I might put Mundo to sleep. I could go to sleep to these sounds. These sounds are music to my ears. I can go to sleep sound of people working. Get to work. Get to work so I know something's happening while I'm sleeping. I can't do nothing while I'm sleeping. I'd have all my sabers done if I could do something while I was sleeping. That would help. That would be helpful. Maybe a 36-hour day. I will sleep the same. Sleep the same, but we'll just work a little longer. Maybe eat a little longer, work a little longer. Not really sleep a little longer. You know, if I try to sleep extra, I get a headache. It's my punishment for trying to sleep. So I should have prepared myself a coffee before. I already drank 2 coffees today. Let's see. Bert says shop shirt, more like a shirt mask. Yeah, that's what I use my shirt for. Light claw sounds cool. Omundo says you found that out when trying to figure out how to fit everything in. Yeah, it's one of the things you got to figure out when you're building the hilt, or if you're working with a hilt that you've already purchased. That's one of the first things you got to think of. How am I going to do this install? Where am I going to fit this stuff? Each wire. That's one of the things I admire about Michael Murphy, Mad Cow. On the FX Saber forums, you know, Michael Murphy is Yoda. If you guys have ever seen his work up close, you know how really, really clean it is. And he's already, talk about deciding how to do the install. Mad Cow and Michael Murphy, they've already figured out where to put each wire. He thought about each wire. Forget about where the board's going to go. He knows where the board's going to go. He knows where each wire is going to go. That's why install looks so clean. So a lot of these new guys you'll see on Instagram, and they have really clean wiring. They're learned from these guys like Mad Cow. They learned to do the chassis, like the Shapeways chassis or some other kind of homemade chassis. That's the way to, you know, make it clean. You see, I'm You'll be able to see. I'm trying to put the bevel on those parts on the front there. Still got some imperfection here. I got to work through that. I think the first time I used this type of pipe was on my friend Stephen Powell's lightsaber. He had a bit of this pipe up at the top of his lightsaber, almost at the same portion of the lightsaber, but his lightsaber wasn't this big. Something happened with my camera here. Hopefully it wasn't like that for too long. I've got this bit going up here, and Stephen Powell's lightsaber, which had like RGB grips. I don't know if you guys remember seeing that one a few years ago on my channel. That one had a piece kind of like this up at a point there, but it was it copper, that bit? I think it was this pipe. Then he also had a piece of copper that I made for his saber too. But I really fell in love with this thick pipe, even though I'm not in love with working with it exactly, because it's takes forever. Takes forever to work with, but cool result at the end. Something that not many people do on their saber, having a big old thick piece of metal like this. Oh, okay, cool. Camera's fixed then, huh? Some left hand action. It's a little goofy, as long as it stays flat. I've actually had two parts before, and one in each hand, and I set up a sandpaper kind of trail that I taped down the whole strip of paper, and I had like two items, and I was trying to be ambidextrous with it, you know, and trying to just sand them both at the same time. You know, it worked for a few minutes until I got too tired. think the sandpaper that's supposed to work really quickly is kind of helping out. Kind of is working pretty good. I'm using stuff like this to sand my Neopixel blades for the past couple months, but haven't done too much custom part work with it yet, other than today. Past couple days maybe. Yeah, I think you guys can tell those little imperfections from my Dremel are almost gone. There's one right there. There's one on that side. Almost sanded totally through them. The level on that second level is not too bad. This side's not completely straight, so I gotta keep going. You know, a lot of times if you've got a level surface and you're wondering about a part, as long as it's big enough to be able to, you know, be held and be seen easily, it's got a flat surface, you could always kind of place it down on your level surface, look at it from a bird's eye view, from a worm's eye view. I could already see some things on that level that need to be altered a little bit. What you could do as well, if you need some assistance with where to take things off and that you could see in that stage, you could always take your Sharpie marker and make marks on where like things have to be removed. So sometimes I'll put a line of the Sharpie where things have to come off, and when I sand and file, when that Sharpie mark is gone, I know I'm really close to having it be perfect. Yeah, it sounds like a chalkboard. Ouch, Melissa says. Yeah, like some of the sounds making, you know, during the sanding and stuff are not pleasant sounds. But Melissa, I did switch a setting on my channel, so hopefully you are able to see the closed captions now. I don't know. I think I did something where you should be able to see it. I hope I did it right. Past couple of videos should have been that way. Yeah, Bert says, this is the part where we all wish SpaceWIndu had a belt sander. But, you know, like I said, it would kick up a lot of dust, and these parts might end up going across the room, which would not be good. See if I get the finish to look a little better. Get some of that imperfection out the finish. And of course, at the very end would be the best time to really do the finish. But since this is kind of a rough piece, going over it at this stage, not a bad idea. Let's just see what we're dealing with here. I do see some marks. You know, the way this pipe came in. Do I have it within reach? I don't think I have it within reach. But the way this pipe came in, it's kind of all scratched up. So I knew that when I made saber parts out of it, it didn't come like an MHS shroud piece or an MHS piece where it comes perfect, basically. This came with some imperfection. That's what happened when I ordered a pipe off Amazon or Online Metals, wherever I got this pipe from. But this part of the saber, I think I'm going to put, I don't know, maybe one of the ports, like a recharge port up in here. I liked when I did that with Steven's saber, Stephen Powell's saber. He had a big old part like this. I think I put a recharge port right in the center of it. It looked pretty cool. It was like recessed. It was like embedded. You talk about a belt sander. I mean, there's been times where I'm just holding a part and it flies across the room. You go figure. Yeah, finally starting to even out this shape. This is an important piece that it's going to be kind of the feature of this hilt. Then the one lesson I always kind of learned from saber making is that things always take longer than you think. I don't think anything's taken less time than I've thought. Always longer. Never shorter. That'd be nice if something took shorter. Then there'd be extra time left over. But I would say that's kind of rare. Rare for me anyway. Rare that it would take me some kind of faster time than I can predict. Usually I make a prediction and it's off, but it's not off in a good way. Yeah, this is the part that sounds like a chalkboard. Getting very close with this one. Oh, Mundo says a belt sander would cause too much noise and we couldn't do our show. Is it an inbuilt screen reader? I forgot what we were talking about. Inbuilt. Oh, with the no, yeah, I think it was like something in YouTube. We should put the sexy saber on the stand so people. Which stand do I have here? You guys can't see it down the ground there. I got to get a stand out. You know, for tomorrow I'll get one of my stands out. I don't think I have one within reach. I'll get a stand out to put that up. Saber building 101 saber shop class. Wouldn't you guys love shop class with just sabers? I would have loved it. I would have built a saber 20 years ago in shop class. You all think building a handmade lightsaber is hard? Try building aircraft with rotors. Bert, you build aircrafts? When I go to fly What does it say? Fly. Taking my saber. Oh, is it Fly Academy? Flight School. I'm taking my sabers to make good flashlights in an emergency situation. Could be used as a rescue beacon. Absolutely. Like when I see those people out there at the airport with those beacons in their hand, I always think that they probably should be holding Neopixel lightsabers. Might be brighter and better than they could. Well, they probably have something similar to it now. High-powered lightsaber is good. I mean, a high-powered flashlight that can maybe change colors from red to green or something. I don't know what they do with those beacons to wave the planes in if they need to switch colors on those, but the technology we got now can do all that. I feel like I'm really about to rip the paper. Well, it's getting better. Almost there. Getting there. Looking a bit smoother. Take some of the more imperfections off this piece of metal. What you guys got planned for the week? Anything good going on this week? For me, just working. Maybe there'll be some good weather. Walk around out there with the dog or something. Did that yesterday. It was yesterday. Really nice day. Got the dog out there. Walked around. Even went out. I think it was Thursday. I went out, went to the store, went to the post office, got some packages shipped out. Went to the store afterwards. That's about as exciting as it gets these days, isn't it? Almost what you're doing inside is more exciting than what's going on outside, because nothing's going on outside. There ain't no parades, there ain't no arcade, there ain't no water slide, there ain't no wave pool, there ain't no water park, there ain't no theme park, there ain't no park, there ain't no beach, there ain't no nothing. Well, they got some stuff open. I heard people are just crowding into those places. The next thing you know, nobody wants to go because it's all crowded. Oh yeah, it looks like, see, something revealed itself on the side here. Well, maybe it's not too bad, but think you can tell, you know, there's this line that's kind of one of the scratches that just came with the pipe right there. And that'll just, there's one in the front there too. So, you know, to have this piece just be really, really nice, it's going to have to be sanded a bit. And most of that could happen toward the end. I do just want to, trying to just reveal what's on here. See how deep they are. See how far you're going to have to go. That's why however big the piece is when you start, you know, on a chunk like this, I knew I was going to be taking some off. Even some bits off the side, some bits off the top, some bits off the actual thickness just because it's imperfect. I want it to be really nice. I kind of just got an idea. We'll talk about that with Malcolm tomorrow. Kind of doesn't matter at this stage, but we'll bring that up with Malcolm tomorrow to maybe possibly, you know, nothing set in stone at this point, maybe possibly reversing. I don't know. What's to think about that? No, maybe not. I don't know. You know, that's why the design is the design, but you could always come up with a new idea. But no, I think the original way. The original way is the way because of those black lines there. We want to see those. It's always something to discuss. Something to discuss. You're making a custom saber. You can make a change midway. Why not? Maybe something's better. Maybe it's not better. Keep thinking about it. Actually, I think I like the original way. Put this on facing the emitter, you know, kind of mirroring that, looking like a Darth Vader emitter part, like a Darth Vader collar, I should say, kind of like a collar based off of his emitter. Oh yeah, some of these imperfections are just going away on the side here. That's not going to be a problem. Yeah, it should end up looking pretty nice when it's all said and done, but it is going to take, and that's also the type of thing I could do on my drill press here. You get some something spinning, just make this a little easier on myself. Okay, so what do you guys think? How's it coming out? There's still a bunch of sanding that has to happen, but I think this is, oh wow, we're in a way better spot than when we started. Way better spot than when we started at 5 o'clock, I think. Not too bad. Looking a lot straighter than it was. It's a bit smaller than it was because we took some off, and it's getting just smaller by the minute, which is good because it started out pretty big, and it's going to end up looking really, really nice. I think it's going to look really, really nice right there. It's not going to look as chunky as you think once it's on the saber. I have to put a couple holes in there to put a couple screws through once we figure out what to do with that. A lot of the times what I do is in between having this piece done and screwing it on, what I'll do is I'll have some painter's tape that I tape it on the hilt with so that we could get used to the the heft of it, the size of it, the look of it, just to make sure before we screw it in. Tomorrow, join me again for another session where we'll work on this lightsaber for Malcolm. It's going to be Malcolm's birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday in advance, Malcolm, and your brother, your twin brother. What we're going to do tomorrow is maybe I'll hit up this piece a little more, but maybe I'll just begin making this piece. Maybe we'll like kind of get more finished with this choke piece, and then we will maybe cut the piece for the Qui-Gon section, the Qui-Gon grip. I already have the piece for above the pommel. That's almost ready. Other than the fact that, you know, it's not installed on there. But yeah, I think tomorrow I'll have this sanded down enough where we'll actually be able to put it on here. We'll see how that looks. Get the Qui-Gon piece cut, and we'll be that much closer to Malcolm having a finished lightsaber. Melissa says, I wish to talk to Master Kenobi. Maybe he would take the pressure off of my mind. Yeah, that'd be a good choice, because Anakin didn't want to talk to Master Kenobi, and look what happened to him. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining this stream. I really appreciate everybody that was here in the comments following along with this build. Malcolm, thanks so much for joining in. I think we will have a couple guests tomorrow, like try to get Gabe on here, Harris. Malcolm's going to come back. He's going to bring his twin brother on. We'll all chat together while we work on this, and that'll get us going pretty far in the machining on this. We'll be pretty far. And then maybe, you know, we'll see about doing some other videos on this. Maybe we'll keep this going as like a series, try to get through this with some videos. We'll see how that goes. And hope you all enjoyed what you saw here today. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. That really helps. And join me back here tomorrow. I think what time I'm going to start is around the same time as today. We'll start at like 5 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're around, please join in. I'd love to have you join in and talk with us and see how this build is going. And yeah, thanks so much. Everybody be safe until tomorrow.